Hello and welcome. My name is John Barros, Chief of Economic Development for the City of Boston. And my job this morning is to play a little bit of MC. And my first job is to welcome and bring up the mayor. And so on behalf of the mayor, I am thrilled that we are here today and the city's first Supply Diversity Advisory Council gathered here for an executive order signing. For the first time, or from the first time the mayor entered office, equity was the priority of his agenda. Equity, in fact, has been something that he's asked to be ingrained in the work of every department and every policy area across the city of Boston. That's why this equity procurement policy that helps to standardize how every department is doing business moving forward is critical. And that's why the mayor asked that we have a vast team, internal team to work on this. Today, next to me would have been standing our CFO, our Chief of Admin and Finance, if it weren't for a personal medical matter that she had to attend to. But we have worked very closely, Emma Handley and I, and her team, particularly with the Economic Development Unit of Equity and Inclusion. And we have also worked closely with our Purchasing Office, Law Department, Small Business Unit, Department of Innovation and Technology, Budgeting, and so many other departments, particularly departments with the largest spend. I'd like to also recognize city partners on our Supply Diversity Advisory Council who have counseled us as we've drafted this policy, looked at it and thought about it. You've been advocates and partners with us in this work. We value your expertise, and we will need your collaboration as this work continues. While the challenge of equity and inclusion is citywide and beyond city government, and larger than any one business conversation, it's very much about Mayor Walsh's leadership and his administration's values. As our city grows and the economy grows, we want to ensure full participation for all Bostonians. And we have made significant progress, but there is a lot of work to be done. In October last year, Mayor Walsh announced the Department of Neighborhood Development and that the BPDA, Boston Planning and Development Agency, will include criteria to promote diversity and inclusion and prevent displacement in all of our RFPs, or requests for proposals, related to public land moving forward. And we've seen the results of that in Dudley. The Economic Development Center, which the mayor announced in January of this year, is a vehicle to reach all Bostonians in every neighborhood and provide them with information on opportunities for growing their businesses, for starting their businesses, for job training, for connecting communities directly to economic opportunities and city resources. Given the city's incredible spending power, the mayor has made it an imperative that we as a municipality develop the kind of policies that encourage and promote engagement with women-owned and minority-owned businesses. And as the mayor launched a citywide disparity study last year, this executive order establishes a set of strong business practices in the City of Boston's procurement process that will increase transparency, accessibility, and efficiency across all departments and agencies. So it is without further ado that I bring up to you our Mayor, Martin J. Walsh.
Thank you, Chief Barros. We're going to hear from Celina in a little bit, the Director of Equity and Inclusion. Thank you, Celina, who's done some amazing work. Our Supply Diversity Council, everyone who's agreed to sit on this council, thank you for that and your commitment. And many of you on the council who have agreed to sit on the council have worked in this space for a long time. And I thank you for the work you've done in moving forward. This has been an interesting week and a good week in Boston. And Tuesday was Election Day. And a lot of people are talking about history being made. 8 women on the Boston City Council. And it is history. But if you look at Boston, if you look at the breakdown of Boston, our city council today truly reflects who we are as a city. Because 52% of the people, the households led in our city are led by women. 50% of the people in our city are people of color. We have a council that reflects who we are as a city, and that was Tuesday. This morning, many of you were at the Black Market talking about our disparity study and how we're going to move forward. And I had a chance to go there. But before I got to you, before I went there this morning, I was at the firehouse, at the Florian Hall. And there were 350 female firefighters from around the country talking about the health and well-being of female firefighters in the job. And I thought to myself, what an incredible kind of a great advancement from what the conversations have been over the last many years. Now, I'm not saying that there's equality there yet, but what I'm saying is that there's an acknowledgement and an incredible conversation that happened today, that I felt an energy at Florian Hall that I hadn't felt in a long time. And it was good to see that. Then I just did a TV show, and now I'm here today about talking that we're working in Boston to harness our city's economy to grow that lifts people up. And that's what we have to do. We've done some good work in the last 5 years in the city. We have unprecedented diversity in our city leadership and in our hiring, and that's been very intentional, and a lot of hard work's been put into that. We do that every day. We're leading a national movement to close the gender wage gap, and we look at women paid less than men, and black women paid less than white women, and Latino women paid less than all women, understanding that there's true gaps there in our society. Creating more pathways into the middle class, especially for women and people of color, and making sure that we continue to create opportunities and options through our small business support or our job training, our tuition-free community college program that has 460 young people in it right now when we started 3 years ago. Home ownership, creating first-time home buyer programs and using city-owned land to build new homes and create opportunities. We've created an inclusion economy. The next word is probably one of the most important words I can say, but we still have a long way to go. We still have challenges we need to face. There's been a history of exclusion in our country, but I'm not the president, so I'm going to look in our city, because that's what we can change. It's led to unequal opportunities. It requires generational and structural change. As a government, we need to lead the way by example. And I can say we're leading the way in a lot of places, but we need to continue to lead the way in a lot of places. The city's spending power is a key lever for increasing equity and business opportunities. Today, as I said earlier this morning, at the Black Market, I'm signing an executive order that standardizes the steps that we can take immediately. It helps us increase access to opportunity, and it will help us implement stronger business practices for the city. I'm going to talk about what the executive order entails, then I want to kind of wrap it up with something. We're making it easier for people to find out about contracts and opportunities within the city. Not make it challenging and make it easier. We're improving the way to do outreach. We're ensuring that city departments use best practices to eliminate structural bias. We're creating a public registry of certified businesses, including small businesses and those owned by people of color, women, and veterans. We're creating a training program for city employees and departments who manage procurement. Many of them are in this room today. We're also requiring each department to create a procurement plan that makes equity a priority. The city has never done anything this bold regarding procurement. It's one of several steps that we're taking. Our Office of Economic Development is leading a disparity study, as we talked about this morning. In 2003 was the last disparity study. From 2011 to 2019, the growth of our city and the opportunities in our city have been enormous and incredible. From 2003 to 2019, a lot of people left behind. A lot of people didn't have a chance to access that growth. Hundreds of business owners told us about their experience working with the city over the years. There's not enough good stories about that experience. It's generally a bad experience story. We're going to make sure that every step of this process is informed and we work the feedback. This is a document that is a piece of paper with ink on it, that has words on it. That's what this document is. It's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that it's not just words on a document and ink on a document. We need to collectively work together to make change. We need to go out and find the contractors, the suppliers, the people that are looking to build capacity. We need to open doors. We need to open doors on people that, quite honestly, the doors have been shut or they don't know where the door is. And there's an opportunity for us to do that. We have successes in our city. They're one-offs. We have Craig Janey in the front row here, whose name is on a lot of big buildings in Boston. It's a one-off. It needs to be consistent across the city. We have a couple young men you're going to hear from in a few minutes talking about doing plowing contracts in different departments. In some cases, they're one-offs, meaning that it's a nice story to tell, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people out there that want to get into this business space. We have probably one of the greatest food contractors, and I'm not saying that because he's standing here in City Fresh Food, but they have a legit business that has an incredible record. They're a one-off. That's not going to get our work done having one-offs. We need to continue to push each other. The inaugural meeting of the Supplier Diversity Council is today. I want to thank you for your participation. You represent all of Boston's neighborhoods. You bring tremendous amount of experience, both in the public and private sector. And I look forward to working with you and implementing the policy, but I also look forward to growing that table. It can't just be the people at the table. It can't just be me. It can't just be John. It can't just be Celina. It needs to be all of us working collectively together to open and make that table a bigger table. These are important steps. My words on this page say these are powerful steps. I'm not going to say that yet. This is an important step. I'm hoping to be sitting in this room a year from now, 2 years from now, and talking about seeing a real change in the number to say that we made powerful steps back in 2019 that made real impact. This is the second time that I've filed this type of executive order. This is the last time I'm going to file this type of executive order, because we're going to make sure that we see real change and real access and real opportunity. I want to thank all the partners for being here today. I want to thank John Barros for his work on this and his team's work on this. There's a lot of criticism that goes around, and that's okay with the jobs that we do. But when it's time to thank somebody, it's time to thank somebody. I want to thank John and Celina and his team that's here today that I won't mention, that have done some amazing work in this space. Now I have the great honor of handing the podium off to the real boss, the Director of Equity and Inclusion, Celina.
Thank you so much, Mayor Walsh. Thank you for your commitment to this issue and for aligning your entire administration around these efforts. I'm the Director of Equity and Inclusion, and the mission of our unit is to connect diverse talent to economic opportunity in Boston. And I want to pause on the word talent, because our minority and women-owned businesses are not small, they are not deficient, they don't lack the capacity. They are here, they have expertise, and they have the vision and innovation to really do work with our city. And so I just want to pause on that, because I think we always speak in a sense of deficiency or scarcity, and we have amazing businesses, and the job of my unit is to connect them with the great departments we have here that have a lot of opportunities. So I want to tell you about this executive order and what I get excited about, which are the tools that it's going to give me to do that job. So first of all, we're going to have an online database of women and minority-owned businesses, which will help us not only identify businesses for our opportunities, but our private sector partners to find businesses as well. We often get calls, and we have, send lists and Excel spreadsheets back and forth, back and forth, but now we're going to have something that's not only online, but it'll also make the process of applying for certification a lot more streamlined, because you'll be able to do it online, and it'll be kind of like the TurboTax, where it's like, you did a little bit today, you save it, you come back tomorrow. It's not, where did I put that paper, or where's that email? It's all there in one place, and it'll save all your information from one day to the next. The other piece, which sounds small, but which is this training for all the people in the city that do purchasing. Now, as you all probably know, the city does purchasing in a decentralized way. So we have a procurement department that purchases goods, but every other department is also purchasing services every single day. And every department goes about it their own way. The way they solicit businesses, the way they solicit bids is their own way. A lot of them are doing great and innovative things, and we're just trying to capture those best practices and do it citywide. So now for the first time, we're giving direction to all departments as to how they should solicit bids, and that for every single opportunity, not just the big contracts, every single opportunity, both 50,000 and above and what we call the written quote contracts, which are 10,000 to 50,000, will include the solicitation of a certified business from our database. So please send the message out. It's very important to be certified, because now every time someone buys anything, right, from $10,000 to $1 million, they have to go through our database to find at least one business that's woman or minority owned or has any certification in our database. That's huge for us. The other piece is that in my role, I often find out after money's spent how we spent it, right? So at the end of the fiscal year, at the end of the quarter, we look at the numbers and we're disappointed by the numbers. Now for the first time, we'll be ahead of the budget process, so we will know what every department is planning on buying for that year, which allows us to not only have solicitation strategies with those departments and say, hey, you have this opportunity coming up. How can we work together to make sure that there's a qualified M or WBE for that opportunity? It allows us to work with the business community, the minority and women-owned business community, and say, hey, this year we're going to have 15 different contracts that have painting in it. Is this a possible good match for your business? Would you want to partner or grow your business to prepare for these opportunities? And then we have the technical assistance on hand through our small business unit to get people prepared for those opportunities. So these are real tools for me and my team to actually connect people to opportunity and not just say after the fact, man, I wish we did better. What can we do? Lastly, and I really want to underscore this, because I've been part of legislative processes at the state level, at the city level for many years. And this is the first executive order that I've seen such cross-departmental collaboration before it even got out the door. So everyone that handles the nitty-gritty of procurement, treasury, budget, information technology, front-facing departments took a look at this and said, you know what? Why don't we leverage this system that already exists? You know what? We're going to need to build this. And we're building new tools. We're creating new connections so that our procurement process will be standardized, not just for certified businesses, but for all businesses to have an equal access to opportunities and to have transparency of what the city's buying. This is huge. Before we even got out the door, we already had the systems and the conversations in place to actually execute this. So these aren't just nice words on a nice piece of paper. This is actually an agreement amongst all of us of how we're going to work together across different cabinets, across different departments, and across different positions in the city. So for the last 6 months, we've been piloting some of the strategies laid out in this executive order. And chief among them is to identify a specific contract opportunity and do outreach to specific businesses for those contracts. And you'll hear from one of the contracts in a minute from A&M Home Services. What we've done is we've picked a contract, we've worked on RFP language with department, and I really want to, he's out in the hallway, but Chief Osgood, who oversees our streets cabinet and the Department of Public Works, we actually said, hey, this waste management contract is enormous. How can we break this up? And they led this, and we supported them in those efforts to actually modify it, break off a piece, and then do very targeted outreach and hold a community information session. We've done this 4 times. In all 4 contracts, we've had new bidders that are women and people of color who were also awarded contracts. So we've piloted it, it worked, and now we're going to do it citywide with every single department. I also want to point out before I hand it over to the real stars of the show today that just yesterday we received a $50,000 grant from the Living Cities Foundation for inclusive procurement, and with this grant we'll be able to work together with the Boston Planning and Development Agency and other departments within the city and also within our quasis to develop the city's first buying plan. And so this is something that other cities are doing. We're learning from them, and we're coming together so that City of Boston will have its own buying plan so that we can forecast what the opportunities are and we can inform the community of what's coming down the line. So I want to hand it over to A&M Home Services, Adam Nurse and Michael Williams. They have been doing a great job at really getting out there, really getting to know people and marketing their services, and they'll tell you more about the work they've been doing with us today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank Mayor Walsh for the opportunity to have us here to speak. I'm Adam Nurse, and this is my business partner, Michael Williams. We're from A&M Home Services. We are a vendor with the City of Boston. We're located right in Roxbury. Over the past 4 to 5 years, we've formed relationships and secured multiple city contracts, and this has been made possible through our work with the Office of Economic Development. They reach out to local contractors like ourselves. They offer opportunities in many fields. They offer information sessions trying to engage the community, and they publicize opportunities as well as educating small businesses on the bidding process. Through our connection with the Office of Economic Development, we were able to secure the contract with Parks and Recreation. We service the Roxbury Parks as well as many slopes throughout the community. Now I'll hand it over to partner Mike. Okay. Forming relationships and executing well on these projects has helped us network and earn contracts with the Department of Neighborhood Development, Property Management, as well as Boston Public Libraries. This year, we are teaming up with Boston Public Works, and we are responsible for the mowing and landscape maintenance of Molina Cas Boulevard from Tremont Street to Harrison Ave. Our work with the City of Boston has afforded us the ability to grow our employee count, and we are also able to offer training and employment year-round to the people from our community. We would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today, and we look forward to connecting with you all in the future.
I don't know if you were paying attention, but that was an ad. Okay, and so for all of you who potentially could use their services, they're available. And these brothers are bad. They not only secured one contract with one department, there's about 4 or 5 departments with different processes and different individuals and different dates and timelines to make it happen. And so extremely proud. And look, it wasn't like they were just searching on the internet and found something. They showed up to meetings. They showed up to trainings with the EDC and came and took it very seriously. And it was really, I was talking to them right before this, and and I said, look, we look forward to do more business with you. He said, well, that's the only reason why we're here. This is nice, but we look forward to doing more business with you, right? And so I just wanted to highlight that, and I'm serious about talk to this. Just JC right here. These two right here in the front. But this is what it's all about. It really is. The mayor this morning in Roxbury said to the crowd, it's about opening doors, creating opportunities, right? And allowing people who have talent, like Celina said, and have skills and have businesses, the opportunity to be a part of this economy, right? And we're hoping that these initial contracts become really big contracts. So we have to understand the whole system. The city is dead serious, and the mayor continues to say to John, do not have me sign a piece of paper with words that we can't come back and show city spend has increased, right? So don't get me fired, folks, right? Because he was serious when he said it to me. We're serious about it. We need everybody to work together, but we need to change the outcomes right? And that's going to take all of us. That's why it's exciting for us to be here as part of the inaugural meeting for the Supply Diversity Council. You guys are our partners in making sure that this happens. People are excited in Boston. We got to go out there and really make it work. Let me bring another gentleman who calls me and calls the mayor up, often. To make sure that, things are happening and moving forward. He's not shy, so I'm not sure exactly what he's going to say today, but we're going to bring him up anyways. I might yank him. I'm going to stand right here. But, Joseph D. Feaster Jr. is not a stranger to folks in the room. I would like to let you know, though, he is the chair of My Brother's Keeper initiative that the mayor started a few years ago, and he's been working hard to make sure that the young people in our city are inspired and that they understand the opportunities in front of them. And so last night when I called him actually and said, Joe, and he had some questions about this and how many people, and said, can you say some words? He said, yeah, I'm heading down to speak to, Foster had put together some group of young professionals. I'm gonna go down and speak to them about what they're doing and jazz them up, right, and get them inspired. And I was like, Joe, I know that's what you're gonna go do, because that's what you do, right? He's also the chair of the Urban League and a bunch of other things, but I just wanna bring him up. Let's give a hand for Mr. Feaster Jr.
Thank you very much, John. It still happens that I can come into a room. Well, first let me say, whenever I come to the Eagle Room, I know it's something important. The other thing is now, Steve, I walk into rooms now, particularly what Emerson had. It used to be a time that I would say if there were 100 people in there, I knew 90 of them. Now I walk into a room and I only know 10 of them. But I'm glad to walk into this room because I know the majority of you in here, so this is definitely a good feeling for that. But before I make any remarks at all, I just think that this is such a historic and important occasion. And I want to give, great kudos to Mayor Walsh, John Barros, and Celina, and their team for what they're doing. So I think we just need to put our hands together and thank them for this effort. Now, I overheard these two young men here, and see, I can say that now, Greg, these young men here and what they're going to be doing, because they do landscaping and plowing, and, I eavesdropped, and the work that they do. So all of these folks are homeowners out here. A lot of them, I know them, so you make sure you get their cards before you leave today. But I honestly want to say I am very pleased to join Mayor Marty Walsh, his staff, John, Celina, and all the persons that work with them, and my fellow Supplier Diversity Council members in support of this initiative. This is so important. But the question that we have to ask, at least I've been asking myself, because this is my, this is my first rodeo, and one of the things I asked myself was, why will this initiative be successful? And the response that I got back was, because it has the right ingredients. Commitment of Mayor Marty Walsh, oversight, training, assistance, and enforcement in the Equity and Inclusion Unit under Celina. She works with and under the Office of Economic Development, which is with John Barros. The Office of Budget and Management and Administration and Finance Cabinet, so they will capture and know where the money is. One of the rules that, and Greg and I have talked about this, Sagan, follow the money. You follow the money, those entities within the city government will be doing that. And lastly is a Supplier Diversity Council, of which I am a member, comprised of individuals committed to working with Mayor Walsh and his staff to achieve fair and equitable opportunities to do business with the City of Boston by minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and local and small-owned businesses. We are looking forward, not backwards. So let's get busy.
But right before I sign the executive order, as I sit down there, at 1 o'clock, in this room, we have a department head meeting. All the departments, the cabinet from the entire city are going to be in this room. And the topic of conversation is this executive order. So there are some folks in this room right now that obviously that's their job, but those other departments, Celina explained, that don't have, buy on smaller or what have you. We're having a meeting today, and we're going to continue to meet with the department heads, and they're going to meet with their managers, and we're going to meet so on and so forth down the organization. So the entire organization, the entire city of Boston understands. So if you're driving a truck for Public Works, you know what our commitment is. If you are the chief of streets or the chief of whatever you are, you understand what the commitment is. And that's what our commitment here in the city of Boston is in this.
At this point, I'd like to ask everybody to come up and help make this moment what it is, which is a very special moment. So please join us with the mayor as he signs the executive order. Mayor, don't sign yet, just so I can get everybody up here.
You're too tall.
And
I'll move to the back. No, you ain't got. You gotta get up front here. Come on, Joe. Come on.
get in there.
Come on, Joe. You gotta stand back. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Here it is. Here it is. Come on, man.
Come on, get in here, man. Look up.